Stop blundering. That's the message today to me and to a lot of you guys. So I'm currently rated like 1550, something like that, and got really close to 1600. But I watched this video from Chess Vibes, and he essentially looks at each range, the rating range, and analyzes 100 games from that range to see what mistakes people are making. And he was surprised to see that 1600s make a lot of blunders. 41% of the mistakes they make are blunders. And I have 20 games from my journey to 2000. Today's day 40 on that journey. And I have 20 games that I played today that kind of emphasize that, because out of those 20 games, I lose 10 of them, and in 9 out of 10 of them, I blunder. A lot of them simple blunders too. So we're going to look at those games and learn kind of what mistakes I made and how I can improve, how you can improve. And also we'll see that psychology also plays a part in it. So this is the first game. This is against the 1700. This is what I mean by psychology. This was yesterday's game that I promised to review today. And this game was kind of crazy. So if we look at the beginning, it starts out normal. We're even going to ignore like inaccuracies and mistakes a lot of the time, because most of the time it's just simple blunders or a little like more complicated blunders. So this right here, I see my blunder right after I make the castling move. And the idea is, boom, right? Now the bishop is getting attacked. And if you want to take with check and then take the knight, well, knights move backwards. So a simple idea that knights move backwards was missed here, right? It's a calculation error that resulted in the blunder. My 1700 rated opponent in a 15-minute game missed it. And he spends like 4 seconds on this move. So I just take because I realized my mistake, and I try to improve my position and change stuff around. Now, one thing I don't do well for some reason is I push the f-pawn before the center is kind of taken care of. And the idea in my head, I think, is that at a certain point in this challenge, I realized that a lot of masters will push the f-pawn when everything is settled. So I think, oh, I want to attack the king quickly. The problem is everything is not settled. There's still a lot of pieces on the board, and this makes my king very kind of open. And we'll see like how that results in a bigger mistake a little later on, which is right here. This is a blunder because of this move. Taking, which comes with check, right? I thought I could take here because if someone takes, then I take the knight back. What I didn't realize is this comes with check, right? I opened up the position for it to come with check. And after that, the game is obviously falling apart. But wait, it doesn't. And the idea here is you actually bring your knight to safety with the queen watching the bishop, all because you got this check in. Opponent didn't see it, again, 1700, and blunders. Blunders his knight, which is crazy to me. And then I try to be tricky here, where all I had to do was take and reorient my pieces towards attacking this pawn. And this is an even game, apparently. Like, this is what I was supposed to do, and my opponent probably has to spend resources defending and maybe trying to go after this pawn and stuff like that. You know, trade and put pressure on the isolated pawn, that's what I was supposed to do. So the fact that capturing can come with check sometimes is something we all can take note of, right? And kind of analyze how the position changes when we make certain moves. So that was bad by me. And after all this, it looks okay. There's this again, protection of my king. I just don't care about my king for some reason. I'm trying to attack when there are 2 queens on the board and his king is completely protected. Here there's an interesting idea. I analyzed this game quite a bit. And the idea is essentially that you're not only putting pressure on this pawn, but in a lot of routines here, you could actually push your queen to the back row and threaten checkmate. So your opponent has to be careful. Instead of that, I just do all this crazy stuff. My opponent misses, I don't know. We're not going to go over everything right now. And this was really cool. I did not see this move. This threatens mate in 2 ways. How crazy is that? That threatens mate in 2 ways, and that's why this is a neutral game. Right? He can't ignore this, because then this is mate. The pawn blocks. So he has to give perpetual check, I think. Or maybe the game just continues, but I think it's perpetual check. That's crazy. I know this doesn't have to do with blunders and stuff, and it's a little bit of a different idea. But the point is, I could have beaten or drawn a 1700, and I didn't. And one of the biggest mistakes was not seeing a check that comes with the capture, you know? The second game here, I play like a genius. Wait, was it this game? My note says I played like a genius until I made a simple blunder. So the idea here was... Oh, I did play like a genius. Look, we're playing all book moves. I'm actually pretty good in the Sicilian for some reason. And I take here to bring my knight in and get this really nice knight and knight protection stuff where I'm going to be up a rook and just win the game. And that happens. But then I make this not so great move where the knight can come in and attacking my queen and I'm pinned. I go back and I make a miss attacking his queen. This allows an outpost, allows the knight to come in. So alongside with blunders, this is, you know, we're not up to the blunder yet, but pawn movements, right? Space advantages, creating space by moving your pawns. Like, these are the things I have to look at more. And here, I had the last chance to attack his queen to try to get out of this kerfuffle. This queen is trapped. The only move it has is here. In which case I could try to, again, go for I'm always threatening the queen, not allowing my opponent to make the moves they want to make. Instead of all that, I just blunder. I blunder my queen. What a simple fork from a knight. Right? This is stuff 13. Like, I feel like 1,000, 1,100 rated players will start seeing more of, but 12, 13, 14, 1,500s should be able to see this, right? So maybe tactical puzzles will help on these sort of things, but the game essentially ended after this. I couldn't do anything, and I think I surrendered after the... Yeah, I surrendered after the knight move. So. Game 3, again, simple blunder. Simple blunder. And I'll show you also how... So it's funny, I'll win some of these games where both of us blunder. Here's the blunder. Instead of castling, you attack both of my pieces. I can't save both of them. Obviously, I want to save the queen. Oops, that's not what I would... That wouldn't have saved the queen. And then I would lose a knight. A little harder to see, but still a blunder. And then I trade out of it. And... It's never too late to blunder. Knights before bishops, right? I come here to protect this, not realizing that because my queen is pinned, I lose the bishop. And I think I forfeit a few moves later. Doesn't matter. The game's essentially over. Simple blunder. Now, this game was beautiful, and of course, no blunders, mistakes, or misses. Okay, this game is more like the book I started reading, which is The Amateur's Mind by Silman. It's actually really helpful. I feel like not even at my level, because we're, again, making very simple blunders. But I think it is the reason I won this game. And what I mean by that is, the way everything was positioned here, my rook ended up having the open file, which was intentional, and I doubled 2 of his pawns. And here, I thought this was really clever. I'm attacking his isolated pawns and preventing his rook from attacking mine. And my king is going to soon come here so I don't get bank rank mated and to stop the rook from coming into e7, which is exactly what I do. And the game falls apart for my opponent. We just start trading, eating everything up, and he trades rooks, and I distract him. I deflect the king's attention away, start eating his other stuff, and he resigns. This is an example of a good game, right? And I think the concepts in this game are more advanced. A lot of them I don't even really understand that well. But again, the point of this video is that just like simple blunders can be avoided if we pay more attention and stop thinking in these advanced terms when we make simple blunders, right? Because, like, for example, this bishop move, not a great move, right? You allowed the opponent to kick a knight because of this move, and I'm forced to go back. I can't go forward. Coming here becomes dangerous, I think, or at least later on. It's definitely not good. And I tried bishops here, and I let his knight come out to an outpost here. My best move a few moves ago was to move this pawn forward. But I didn't want to damage the structure in front of my king. Go figure, sometimes you could do that. Anyway, these sort of mistakes are good to look at and to learn from, but the simple blunders are where you actually like will improve the most at this level. I feel like, look at this. I just completely blunder a bishop because again, I forget captures can come with checks. And this has to do with king safety, but at the end of the day, it's a simple, clean blunder that's very easy to understand. And in this game, actually, my opponent makes some mistakes that allows me to come back, and I don't recognize some crazy tactics or ways to get into the position. But, like, that's not the point. The point is the game fell apart because of a simple blunder. And at this point, I literally just move my knight around like a maniac because I kind of give up. I give up and then I resign. This was a crazy blunder. At least according to my notes. I don't remember every single game. I'm not that good. And here we trade. We get into, you know, semi-end game. And I could just clearly take the knight here. I mean, the rook, right? Instead of that, I push this pawn. And then I see that I could take a rook. And it's a blunder here. Can anyone see why? If the arrow didn't show you? We're both hanging our queens. Well, he's not really hanging it. At least it's defended. I'm completely hanging my queen. At a 1500 level. I'm doing the Botez Gambit here. But my opponent doesn't realize. And because of that, the game ends up in my favor. You know what's funny? I calculated for some time the queen coming into the position. And this great moves, right? The only moves that work. And basically hiding my king away in the corner. I calculate all of that. But that's not what would have lost me the game. It's like so sad. Here I blunder and I see it too late. I wrote yeah, I played 81% accuracy, blundered twice. How crazy is that? So this is a Sicilian. And this is a clear blunder. Because the knight comes in attacking the queen and rook. And here he could just attack my bishop. So the threat remains when I come back, he could come here, attacking. And that's just lost. I can't even protect the rook, because the knight takes my queen anyway. Terrible, 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 terrible. And I blunder again. Instead of moving my queen out of the way of the knight's attack, I bring my bishop back. And I do this stuff attacking his queen. And he ends up trading, and I'm like, oh my god, thank god. I thought, you know, I was just like so lucky. And after that, the game continues, and my opponent resigns, but like, you know, even if you win, you gotta analyze where you go wrong. Complete blunder, and then I cause my opponent to blunder. That's the note for this game. I trade his strong bishop, and then I completely blunder. I forget that the knight exists here. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because I learned that knights on the rim are dim, or whatever. That knights, you know, in the corner don't do much. They don't see as much. So I kind of disregarded it as a piece. So the concept of inactive versus active pieces, weak squares, all of this stuff, when you start learning it, you still can't forget hanging pieces. And I start playing super fast to hope that my opponent messes up. And a few turns later, my opponent actually messes up. Just completely hangs a rook and resigns. It's like crazy. Oh my god. And this is the first game in the list where I don't actually blunder. I didn't see a crazy pin, but I didn't blunder, right? And I feel like I concentrate on defense a lot, and offense is obviously important, but I mean, sometimes you should see stuff that's very easy to see. You can see I played like a 2000 over here, but look what I missed, and we'll see if you guys see it. Oh no, this wasn't the game with the crazy pin. But this was still a game with no, this one was a little more complicated. So this one, the purpose here is, let's say your opponent comes here. You could actually check, because the queen can't take, you lose the rook. If the king comes here, it's a check. You win a bishop. If the king comes here, it's the same thing. If the king comes here, well, you take the pawn. And probably mate's coming. So even though I won that game, like, that is, you know, that's not with blunders, but still, I thought it was interesting. This game also not with blunders. It was just a bad position. I was just throwing pawns forward, and the funny thing is I move my king all the way to the side, and I keep it protected. I keep it protected, and my opponent blunders a pawn. You see? if I don't blunder, my opponent blunders. And maybe because my opponent was rated lower than me, I thought I could do something. He just blunders a full rook. It's like, come on, man, you blundered a full rook. That's crazy. This is the first game where I lose, not because of a blunder. Again, I lost 10 of these games. Only one of them was not a blunder. It was this game. And the idea here is my position's actually really good. Until I move my knight out of the way. The knight was really nice from stopping his knight from getting into the position. Right when his knight comes in, he could take my annoying bishop. But more importantly, he can push his center pawns, and he's just winning. And then here, instead of pushing, he takes with he ruins his beautiful bishop. I don't know why. And I feel like I have a chance. And yet here I still mess up. The game is pretty even. And what do? Haha. I don't care about my king's safety anymore. Look at that. But my opponent didn't see it. Ends up seeing it a move later. Pins my rook. And I'm just pushed back entirely. I don't know what the hell to do. And a few moves later, his pawn's pushed so far in that I essentially lose. I lose the game. No blunder, but that pawn push ruining my king's safety, that's a mistake, right? That has to do with king safety, not, I didn't blunder a piece right away, but yeah. Back to the blunders, guys. Hopefully you guys are learning something too. So we've gone through 11 games. This is the 12th game. I freaking missed trapping a queen, I'm pretty sure. Right here, poisoned pawn. How many times do we look at poisoned pawn calculations? Maybe you don't, but I have. I think maybe I did look at this, but I forgot that my knight is protecting that pawn. I don't know what was going on here. And the idea here is, yes, the queen can't get out, and the game is essentially over. Like, the game is over on move like 8 or something. But okay, that was a blunder by my opponent, not by me. And it's a little hard to see. Although at this level, I would hope it's okay to see. And here I blunder seeing, or I miss seeing this calculation idea. And the idea is after you take with the knight, yes, he could take your bishop, but you get a rook. You get a rook and you're winning. It's not like, oh, you're winning the whole game, the game is over, but, it's nice. I don't see that. Instead of all this stuff happens, and I try to go for a checkmate that just doesn't work. I blunder my bishop completely. And this is beautiful, okay? So I blundered my bishop, but at least I had some sort of plan on, This is beautiful. I completely just blundered the rook. I forget that the bishop could take it. So that's just a complete mistake. And then watch this. I recognize the perpetual check! And I perpetually check a 1638 rated player, which felt nice. I love pushing pawns in front of my king for some reason. So, king safety and just simple blunders, I think, are key here. So here I actually think a lot, and I play some nice ideas, and like, why? I'm trying to trap or annoy the queen, but like, this looks scary, but wait, what? Actually, don't know why this isn't scary. I didn't really analyze this game. The knight comes in attacking my queen, so if I take now, the queen can get away. And now I just have an overextended pawn. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, whatever. My opponent doesn't see that. I push the pawn. And then I find this beautiful, beautiful move. Doing enough puzzles, you see this, right? He didn't let me get it. He resigned, but that was... Bro, when you do that puzzle 50 times in Puzzle Rush, and then you see it, and you do it in a game, it's like the most amazing feeling. But my opponent blundered there, Clear blunder. Here we have a pawn push blunder. Pawn push blunder, king safety, and just piece blunder. So my opponent blundered. I come into the position. Apparently trading here is better, which makes sense because the bishop can develop, attacking with my knight, gaining some tempo. And that kind of makes it hard for me to defend. And then here, a pawn push blunder. What's the pawn push blunder? Well, the knight gets into the position. But not only does the knight get into the position, so So here my best move was bringing the knight back to protect this pawn. I don't have any way to deal with this. He wins that pawn, and now I have to try to promote this pawn. And for some reason, I thought it was safe there. It just wasn't. And I mean, the game says it's pretty close. My guess is because my king is actually super close to attacking this. I don't know why I didn't trade here. That was kind of stupid by me. Wait, why didn't I trade here? Huh? That is so dumb. I thought I was forced to keep my knight alive. Oh my god. Anyway, the game falls apart after that. Okay, so that was just dumb. That was just dumb by me. But, you know, that type of miss, I'm not as angry myself for. And these games are king. This one I wrote king protection, but ultimately bad calculation. You know, the types of blunders aren't always the same, but here for some reason I thought opening up my rook was okay. My best move was just to get rid of that bishop, so my pawn structure in front of my king was good. He ends up a pawn up, and I think that's one of the big reasons. But then he lets me get this pawn, and the game becomes a little complicated. And I'm gonna blunder. 3, 2, 1, and 0. I'm thinking, I'm gonna lose. I'm losing a rook, but I have no way out of it. I can't do anything here. I cannot. Oh, wait. I just did something. My worry is the rook comes in. Now he's pinning my queen to the... Take the rook. Like, these ideas that are so simple, yet in the game, when you look at your opponent's rating and you look at the time and you're overthinking, you miss these simple ideas you would see otherwise, you know? So this is just a clear, stupid blunder, and it was an even game, and it was an end game, you know? And I wasn't that much lower on the clock. Like, I mean, I was, but the position is still alive, and it's just, for me personally, I go too defensively a lot of the times. And I think, you see, like, I genuinely thought that rook pin was fatal. I thought I couldn't stop it, not recognizing that the rook was not defended. So stuff like that gets me personally. You have to figure out what's your personal flaw. It might be something similar. And here, this is kind of funny. Because it looks like he's doing well, but you could just keep pushing, I think it was, yeah. And if he takes, you just take with the queen, and your queen's getting into the position, and it's some crazy stuff. Whatever, that's a little more complicated. Here I actually have 2 mouse slips, but at the end of the day I had bad endgame play. Well, the first mouse slip was this. Moving the pawn here. My mouse literally slipped. My hand slipped. It almost never happens. And I would never do that move, because the knight comes in with tempo. Or at least that's how I saw it. But apparently it's not, because I could take this pawn and the king's protection is suffering. Potentially. I don't see that. Instead, I push this pawn. I love pushing pawns for some reason, and then the game progresses, and it looks okay, trying to find a way to break in, and, you know, I mean, my opponent is clearly winning, but the game neutralizes. We don't need to go into detail, because this video is about blunders, and to be honest, you know, kind of more important. Here, the way that I finish this is I let my knight be free. And what I mean by that is my knight's purpose, I believe, is to stop this pawn from promoting, and my pawn's purpose is to try to promote. So his bishop is gonna either get sacrificed by my king trying to, like, protect the pawn pushing, or he just won't be able to promote, and it'll be an even game, right? His king has to run here, and I have to protect it, whatever. The point is, it's an even game. Instead of all of this, I push my pawn the other way, where I clearly recognize that this move is just not good. You know, he takes, and yeah, this is even, but I think the king gets closer, and then my knight can't really do anything. I can't stop 2 pawns with 1 knight and a king, against a king also. But he moves his bishop away. I'm like, what the heck? He's not going to be able to stop my pawn promotion. I'm going to take with my knight, and this looks bad, but my knight's going to come back into the position. And here I just missed a clear winning idea of just taking the bishop for free. But I push my pawn here, and it goes into a draw, because I'm stupid and I missed. It's just that simple. Okay. Yeah, so This one, bad king protection, and this is the missed pin. So a lot of these later games, I guess I wasn't making as many fatal blunder mistakes, but king protection is pretty bad. And yeah, just taking here was allowing the bishop to come in was not good. My king becomes open, becomes very hard to defend it, but eventually we kind of equalize, and I miss a pin. I miss a very simple pin. Oh man. Oh man. Even here, I still had the idea. How many turns in a row? And he sacks his rook to get in with his knight, take a rook. I see that, but I just think I'm winning. I get my king in, and this is some crazy stuff going on here. Apparently, I could deflect the king away, winning the rook, which makes sense, but I didn't see it. And we just trade everything and protect everything, and I think yeah, I end up winning. Yeah, he resigns here. Trades the rooks out of frustration. Fork blunders. We're back to the blunders. Don't worry, guys. It's never too late to blunder. At least I didn't blunder a piece while getting checked there. I was hoping for a draw because I recognized my position was pretty trash. I'm down a pawn. And I'm up a pawn again, so the position kind of clears up a little bit, but I'm scared of his two rooks there. Seem more active. He trades them away, and then here I blunder my knight. I was so pissed at myself. So pissed. East take with check. Remember how we talked about that, guys? What is the move here? Who can see it? Boom. Check. If I take, boom. I'm down a piece. This is against a 1700 rated player, guys. 1700 rated. And it was... and yet, I still survive. I mean, he's a pawn up, and I try to trade, but look how crazy this is. I move my king. This game was crazy. I move my king to the other side, and I'm a little intimidated. I know it's a 1700 rated player. And I'm getting into the position, and I'm trying to bring my rook over to do some stuff, and he just blunders a rook. He thinks it's okay. He blunders a rook. I'm clearly winning. This is... Boom! If I'm playing 1100, maybe I would win. Maybe it's a psychological thing. And this goes back to what I said in the beginning, that some of it is psychological, blundering all the time, looking at the ELO rating too much. But at the end of the day, these are blunders you would see normally, right? Well, the idea here, not so simple, is to bring the rook to the other side, because I can give check, I can bring my queen into the position. I just did not cross my mind even once. Instead of that, I do all this stuff, and I try to break into the position, but I mess up. And king protection, man, king protection. This continues the game. It looks like he could check me. You know, it looks like he could check me. And that's it. He can't check me. So, well, not any good checks, at least. Instead of that, I go into this corner. I hope for a draw. Then he brings his knight in, and I just resign. Okay. Last game of the day. Guess what? Missed a blunder. Missed a blunder. So what have we seen? We've seen simple blunders from not paying attention, like when a knight was in a corner. Or queens were friggin' staring at each other. We've seen calculation errors with blunders. We've seen pawn push blunders. We've seen king protection blunders. We've seen captures with check blunders. And I think those are a lot of them. And here the blunder is, well, let's see if you could see it. A little harder to spot. My opponent blundered because if I attack here, the knight actually doesn't have a good place to go. If the knight goes somewhere like this, boom, your knight is protecting, you're up a piece. Right? You could run away if the queen attacks it. So, white's best option is to attack your knight. I would say you could probably even take here. Okay, I haven't analyzed this. Apparently you can't. You have to take here. Oh, because it opens up your rook, maybe. It opens up your rook to the attack. Whatever. This is too difficult for my small brain. I'm not going to lie. but you're up a piece in this exchange. So simple blunder. Or no, I shouldn't say simple. That's not so simple. But it's a blunder we both missed. And then I push my pawn forward. And I just completely blunder a pawn, allowing the knight to come into the position, forking my rook and queen. Knights. Something I missed a lot, and I even, a couple of videos ago, I even pinpointed that I need to be better at recognizing knight threats. But at the end of the day, it was a simple one-move blunder, and a lot of these are one-move blunders. Like, the result, the reward that comes out of my blunder is immediately felt. Immediately felt. So it looks like, oh, what are you talking about? You're only down a pawn. I'm down much more than that. His queen's in the position. There's open lines towards my queen, my king. And now I'm down an actual piece. And I resign. So those are my games. I'm rated 1546 now, but by the end of the month, I still hope to get 1600. Just thinking of blunders, not overthinking certain aspects, doing more tactical puzzles. I'm really liking this new book I'm looking at, and just continuing stuff like that. If you enjoyed the video, say weights in the comments to let me know that you watched this far. I really appreciate you, and have a great one. Bye-bye.